In this video we're going to use this little wooden model to explain orthographic projection. In orthographic projection we draw two-dimensional pictures of what we'd see if we're looking at that object square on from each of its sides or straight down from above. So the first view we're looking at is if we would look at this object over here, square onto that side, that's what we get over here. We call it an elevation. The one that shows most of the information is either called the main or the front elevation. If we're looking at the object from above, sort of a bird's eye view, we look straight down on the top of it, down here, and that's called our plan view, which we've got over here. The next two views that are usually included is looking in this end here. That's the picture we'd get if we're looking square on. If we go around this end and look around there, that's the view we'd get there. So starting our orthographic drawing then, we start by drawing where the bottom of the object would be, which is there, and then the height to the bottom of the roof or the top of the walls is there. That line is the height to the top of the ridge, and right up here we're going to have the top of the chimney. These lines, this one and this one and this one and this one, all define the length of the object. So we've got, if we were looking in the main elevation, the height is right up in that direction, the width of it is right in that direction. These lines are all light lines because they're what they're called construction lines, and we would be using our set squares and T-squares to draw them. So here, just to clarify what we've drawn, I've lined the thing in. You can see the chimney over here, and there's where the roof is, and this is the sides through there. And if you think about it, it's basically what we saw in that first photograph of looking at the object from side on. So now we're going to draw the view looking down from the top, that plan view or bird's eye view, and this is where the term projection comes in, because what we've done is taken the chimney lines and extended them up, and these other ones, we've taken them up the page, and so up in this area here now we're going to be able to draw what we would see looking down from it. So these lines here is from one side to the other, the width of the object, and that middle line there, if we go around there, that's actually looking down from the top of the chimney. The term projection comes from this idea of extending or projecting the lines up, and hence the term orthographic projection, because from one orthographic view, this one, we're projecting up to create a second one there. The positioning of this view is sort of worked out by saying what we want is this space here to be roughly the same as what you've got here, and I should have mentioned earlier, but this thing here is always put exactly in the middle of the page so we can get the two end views here and here. So here we've lined it in so that you can see that what we've actually created is similar to that photograph that was shown of the model when we're looking straight down on top of it. Now we're going to have a shot at drawing the view looking at the end. So looking in from this end here, I'm going to create this drawing in this area here. Now I've already got all the heights there, there and there, and projected those lines across. And now what I need is the width of the object, and up in the plan view you've got the width from one side to the other. So to get those widths down into this view, what we do is put a 45-degree line, usually start it right in the top left-hand corner of that view and project it using your 45 set square up there. And then any lines that are taken out to that 45 line, if we bring them down, they're going to retain their width or distance relative to each other. So when we come down here, we'll have shifted the widths here into this view. So this is what it looks like when we've projected our lines from the plan down to create our end elevation. and here we've got it lined in. You can see that we would only get to see actually half of that sloped roof, so in that end view that's what we show. However, in orthographic we always show whether there is an edge to an object, so these lines here, these dotted lines, are always put in for things that are there but you can't actually see them. They're called hidden detail lines, and it should be around about 3mm dash with about a 1mm gap in between them, a little chain line. They should touch at the top there, and they should touch down there wherever the object gets to. But in the middle here, you'll see it doesn't touch, and that's because that is a continuation of the same line across. So what I've done now is projected the other end view. You'll see the difference between the two, of course, is that over here we're seeing this end, so we can see all the way around there. We can't see this edge of the chimney, so that's shown as hidden detail in this view, and we can't see the line that goes across there, so that's shown as hidden detail. And right in the middle there, they shouldn't actually touch because they're basically two separate lines. Here I've just coloured it in so that it matches that model that we started with. Adding in the photos might help clarify what the different views actually are of. Finally, you add what we call the conventions that complete an orthographic drawing. For example, the title down there at the bottom requires the name of the drawing rather than just saying orthographic. You need your name in there, and over here we have the scale. This is a drawing that's full size, so the scale is 1:1. In other words, the full size measurement is what we're seeing on the drawing. If we drew it half size, it would be 1:2. This thing here is the symbol to show its third angle orthographic, which will be explained at another time. Basically, the symbol shows one elevation of a cone with the top chopped off, called a truncated cone, and then next to it is the end elevation of what you'd see if the front of a truncated cone was shown like that. Here we have what we call the reference lines. That defines the difference between the plane that we're seeing the side or the elevations in, which is in this area here. Here's another plane, but it's at right angles to this one because we're seeing at the end. There's another plane over here, and up here is the plane looking down from the top. That's called a horizontal plane, so we put HP in there. These other ones are vertical plane 1, vertical plane 2, vertical plane 3. As a trap for young players, I've called vertical plane 1, vertical plane 2. That's just a mistake. Apart from that, it looks pretty good.